In this demonstration, I'll be covering how to backup and restore an XG firewall, as well as how to perform a factory reset if required. We'll start off by logging into the XG firewall. Let's take a look at an example scenario where an administrator may need to take a firewall backup or perform a restore. In this scenario, an administrator is performing maintenance on network equipment, and later, something goes wrong with the configuration of the firewall. Let's have a look at how the administrator can take a backup prior to performing maintenance and how they can restore an XG from a backup configuration. On the menu, we'll navigate to Backup and Restore. Here we can either backup on demand on a daily, weekly, or monthly schedule. First, we'll select our backup mode to where we want our backup stored. We can either backup locally on our XG firewall, which is convenient for an on-demand backup, but it's not ideal as part of a backup strategy in the event the device becomes completely inaccessible. Using either FTP or email are much better options as part of an ongoing backup strategy. FTP settings are entered right here on this screen, whereas email settings are set up on the notification screen where you set up your mail server authentication and email options. Regardless of the method that we choose, we can give our backup a prefix to easily differentiate files based on device or configuration or whatever criteria we choose. The backup I performed is now available for download, and as you can see, it contains the prefix we assigned along with other information including the serial number of the firewall and time and date of the backup. To restore a backup, first choose a backup file off of the computer and then click Upload and Restore. Note that restoring from a backup will override your current configuration, and it also reboots the firewall. Click OK to continue, and the restoration and reboot process will commence, which will take a few minutes. Once completed, we can refresh the page and log into the restored configuration. If restoration of the system to factory settings is required, this can be done on the firmware screen. Here we can change the language of the firewall and or restore the firewall to an earlier version by simply just clicking on the gear icon that's visible beside the version that we want to restore to. It's important to note that either option will completely replace the firewall configuration settings, and it will restore the firewall back to factory defaults. In this demonstration, we walk through the process of backing up an XG firewall, restoring a backup, and setting the XG back to factory defaults.